Here's your Monday. I have been a busy girl since I made myself get out of bed, which was still early afternoon, I'll be real. I have been working, videoing, uh, videoing, editing, crocheting, and gonna do this market bag. I wanted to drop the link for the market bag, and then I think Ryan's going to talk about some history because, well, I had a lot of questions for one, and for two, um, I want to do something different, right? Hello, Helix, Margaret. Who else is in here? Why is my chat not showing? Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Hey, Jasmine, welcome in. How are you doing? Why is this weird? My chat's not wanting to show again. I had so much trouble with this live chat on my tablet. I don't understand what the issue keeps being. Here we go. Play. Chat. It doesn't want to. It does not want to give me the chat. It's always it's a tablet issue more than anything. Hey Renee, how you doing? He does not like. I need to see my chat. Live chat. Okay, we'll close it again and try it again and see if it will come up again. Maybe I need to get out of here and try this again here. There we go. I think I got it now. Here we go. Hey Lori, how you doing? You're better. I'm a little better too. I still have a stopped up ear though. Like it's better than it was. Hey Linda, how's it going? My ear's better than it was. Okay, I was gonna drop the link for this. This is a 201's French market bag. There's the link for it. I'll see about getting it in the description. Hey Kelsey, how you doing? Let me do this. Turn this translator off. Community moderation. You need to be a subscriber to chat, cause why? Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna entertain you. You want to talk to me? You can at least subscribe. Right. So this that I'm using is this from the HL, the Crafter's Secret, and it is Happy Day. So we're gonna have a happy day. What is that? Is it just jet debris? I don't know how I keep my yarn in the hibbity libbity hibbity libbity the HL. Oh, that kind of ties into today's lesson of the progressive era. That why I don't tend to shop at HL, but I do sometimes because I can't help it. Hey girl, hey, how you doing, Charlotte? Hi, Lori, Margaret. So far, this is a fairly easy bag. It's just a bunch of this right here. I'm doing trebles and skipping and going in, and I'm stubborn like this, so of course I'm going in the back bump because I'm stubborn. So today I worked on trying to make y'all a video. So it's just something. videoed. I feel like I videoed every single thing that I did today. And then I actually edited and I caught up with the editing. So I'm hoping y'all have a video on Wednesday. If not, you'll have it Friday. Right? Right on. I packaged some yarn. You're doing okay. I'm feeling all right. I'm better, but my area is still stopped up, I have to say, right? It's still got this stopped up. I hope that it just continues to get better. At least it hasn't made me dizzy or anything like that. What are y'all working on? Anybody crocheting along with me tonight? I feel like that's not quite right here. What did you do today? How was your Monday? I am making a market bag, French market bag by Two of Wands. I put the link in the chat. I'll have to put the link in the description after because I didn't do that. So I'll have to put the link in the description afterwards. But if you look up Two of Wands French market bag, you'll find it. Kelsey's trying to get Lola to sleep. I'm assuming Margaret's drinking some coffee. Renee is a few rows away from completing the Sophie scarf. Went to the eye doctor, ordered some new glasses. Right on. I need to do that too, Renee. Helix is hooking on her scrap blanket. Jasmine is making a black and teal cat beanie. Yep. Renee is at a hooded scarf. Kelsey wants to know. Margaret is working on her leaf shawl, and she had a nice dinner. Right on. She's getting some coffee in her. Right on. I'm going to stitch on my Stitcherhood blanket, Charlotte says. Oh, y'all are awesome. Y'all ready to sit and hear about some history? I am. I'm ready to hear. You might want to turn that heater off, babe. It could drown you out. We need to make sure that they can hear you okay. You might have to actually, like, project a little bit.
It'll be all right.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Every little thing is gonna be all right. Right? Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. That's what somebody told me in a song. Not this one. Petite Knits does have a hooded version. These are a bunch of trebles. Treble. I like a treble. I think once I get going past this first row, right? Rise up this morning. I love him.
That Bob Marley movie was pretty good.
Yeah.
What was it called?
I don't remember, but it was a good movie. And so from what I understand, this pattern is just this, right? I have to do this for like 30-something rows. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing? After working with that 24/7 cotton and that all-day cotton, going back to this kitchen cotton, this Crafter's Secret, it's a splitting on me, right? Told my hubby happy anniversary, and he said, let's go out to dinner. And I said, okay, where are you taking me? And he said, McDonald's. I said, let's go to BL. What's BL? I have coupons. What's BL? History. What? The what? Yeah, we're going to talk about some women
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
Women history. BK. I haven't had a BK in a long time, Margaret.
Me neither.
I used to like a BK. Hi, Chuck, also. Hi, Chuck. Why do I keep wanting to sing that song when Chuck comes on here? Chuck, Buck. Because I'm ornery, that's why. I'm a little ornery. I can't help it. That's just how I roll. Yum on the BK boys once at McDonald's yesterday, and we should have went and sat down to eat for the price and the wait. Yeah, did I? I haven't given them a treat yet, Charlotte, but I will. I will, and I will record it. They were hilarious last night, and thank you so much for that, Charlotte. Charlotte sent me a surprise last night. It was so sweet of you. I already had fish thoughts, so we had a much nicer dinner. Oh, good. Better than the BK, huh? Have y'all ever heard of BJ's? I mean, it's a, what is that thing called? It's like a Sam's or a Costco, from what I understand. I never heard of it. It's new. They are in this next town over, and it's like a, I mean, it's similar than Sam's and Costco, from what I understand. Like, you have to have a membership. Um, you have to have a membership for it. Hey, Camilla. Me too. I'm about done with this job. I've had a headache for 3 days, and it gets worse when I get to work. Ah, you're very welcome. It made us smile, and something made our hearts heavy. Thank you so much. Yeah, it made us smile too. I've heard of them. They're on the East Coast. Well, there's one here in Texas now, Chuck. Yes, baked salmon, baked potato, and a salad. And hubby had garlic toast. Ham, I am doing wonderful. How are you, Camilla? What are you working on? You ready to get your
Yeah.
brains historied? Some of y'all might already know. Like, some of it I know, some of it I don't. My sis granny top. So, hubby's going to talk about the progressive era. So, what is the progressive era?
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's make sure they can hear you good, though.
Oh, maybe we should turn the heater.
Yeah. History class, yay. Camilla.
All right. Okay, so generally speaking, we're going to talk about 1890 to 1920, and I'm going to pretty much confine myself to the United States because I'm a U.S. history teacher and I don't know quite as much about the rest of the world. Um, so at its core, the progressive era is kind of it's. I think a lot of times people think of it as a time period of reform and like making things better for workers and making things better for the underclass. Um, but it's really more about perfecting humanity. And wrapped up in that is using scientific knowledge, and you kind of have the birth of like real science and real industrial power also kind of, just before, and they really go go kind of crazy for perfecting humanity. And the other thing that's another thing that's interesting about the time period is that there's a lot of it's hard to define what exactly a progressive is, because there are a lot of different varied interests, and their politics don't always jive, but the general idea is that they want to change and perfect and master a given area. So like the heavy hitters of the time period are like women's voting rights, prohibition, uh, let's see, sort of like dealing with immigrants and educating a population that's new to the country, even as you might call it, assimilating an immigrant population. But along with that is also a lot of thought put into like genetics and perfecting the genetics of the human race. And in the industrial world, you have this idea called Taylorism, which is like scientific management kind of. So it's like perfecting all of the manufacturing processes. And all of that gets wrapped up with reform impulses and becomes a lot more like heavy handed government than I think we generally perceive that time period.
Heavy-handed government, huh?
Yeah,
See, I always think of the progressive era as, well, what I'm most familiar with, which is women's voting rights. I mean,
sure.
that's
Well, and
just,
that's
you
definitely.
say progressive era, and that's what I think of. But I
Mhm.
was also, until last night, mixed up because I thought the progressive era was between World War One and World War Two, and it's not.
Mm-mm. That would be more like the
Hmm.
Depression, or well, up until 1929, it's pretty good, cool, happy, fun times in the 20s.
Hmm.
Um,
Is it?
yeah, well, in America at least, the 20s are pretty good. Relatively prosperous. You've got it's the country after World War One. We feel like we've really kind of entered the global stage as a dominant power, and the economy is kind of flowing our way. So that's part of why you get like the birth of like flappers in the 20s. This women start working more in the um like outside of the home, uh
Hey, Chris.
and they start to be able to control their money more
Hmm.
because they have independent jobs. And so then from there, flappers, are younger 20s to 30s, women with independent money that are, hip and cool. They go to the jazz clubs, and
Hmm.
you've got the Harlem Renaissance going on, um, outpourings of art, um, up until 1929. And then the bottom falls out in 1929.
So it's 1890 to 19.
No, I think a good end point is the end of World War One, which is 1919 to 20. Like depending on what you consider the
Hmm.
wrap up, the shooting ends in 18.
Hmm.
Um,
They're saying, Camilla says they cut their hair and got their ears pierced. Hi,
who
Chris.
did?
Camilla said they cut their hair, the women.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
but you also have the rise of the wealthy class.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You certainly, the background context in America is you're coming out of the Gilded Age in like the after the Civil War, I guess, like 1865 to 1880 is what we would call the Gilded Age, when you have like the robber barons like Rockefeller and Morgan and Carnegie and what's the other? Well, whatever. Oh, Jay Gould. Those guys are buying up railroads and like centralizing businesses and creating monopolies, and then you've got like the industrial factory system that develops, and all the workers are like factory slaves.
Is that your man voice? Yeah, that's my man's voice. Bliss. Jack and I went to a reunion, high school reunion, and we dressed in 20s garb. I was a flapper. Oh, that's cool. Hey, Arity,
Yeah,
welcome in.
I like 20s
Mhm.
fashion a lot. I mean, like from an artistic perspective, or design perspective, I really like Art Nouveau and Art Deco.
So, Art Nouveau and Art Deco is during that time period also?
Yeah, Art Nouveau is pretty much lines up with the time period. And here's kind of an interesting aside. Um, in the like 1890s, there's this guy named Gibson who draws pictures for like weekly and monthly journals like Harper's Weekly or Punch or different magazines like that. And his sort of fashion sense and like idealized depiction of women becomes a thing in and of itself. They're called Gibson girls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they start getting like you start getting like the sexy Victorian is basically what a Gibson girl is,
Not
right?
something I think I would ever hear anyone say. A sexy Victorian. Chris, I'm crocheting a market bag. Sexy Victorian.
Oh yeah, I mean,
What does that mean? Sexy
well,
Victorian.
okay, so if you consider the form of like the
Mhm.
dress, and
uh,
I'm not a fashion expert by any
uh,
means, so my terminology is
uh,
probably not going to be accurate, but like dresses in the, let's say, 1860s, 1870s are relatively conservative. They're not exactly
mhm,
like form hugging,
mhm,
more like matronly, and
mhm,
definitely not like the say French Revolution style where it's like pushing your boobs out and all that,
mhm.
right? Um,
Chris says the start of pinup.
in the 1880s, well, certainly by the 1920s, you got
Mhm,
that going on. I don't exactly. Um, I mean, yeah, you've got vaudeville and all that going on in the 1890s. So yeah, I mean that's
you've got
probably,
what? Vaudeville?
yeah,
What is that?
like variety shows,
Uh,
like the Ziegfeld Follies, for example. Um, that's sort of all contemporaneous with this time period. So it's a very interesting time period. Um, and it has a lot of different aspects to it. And then of course there's the war side of it, like from say 1910, if you're looking at it from like world history perspective, but
mhm.
maybe 1914, 15 is when the war still really starts having an effect on America. Um, so yeah, there's a lot to the progressive era. And I thought tonight, I mean, certainly questions are welcome and all of that, like if you have a specific interest or something like that, um, or definitely about anything that I say. But I thought that I would pretty much talk about like the women's movements in the progressive era. Um, so on deck for tonight, I've got I figured I'd talk a little bit about the women's voting rights suffrage movement, and then a little bit about temperance and prohibition, without getting into
Temperance?
a whole lot of
What do
detail.
you mean by temperance?
Banning alcohol.
Ah, okay.
Well, temperance more broadly, like regulating your emotions and uh,
Women
bodily pleasures and things.
specifically or humans, Americans?
What with the voting rights and stuff?
No, with
Well,
the temperance,
oh no, everyone.
everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like graham crackers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a temperance kind of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm. What is Musha paintings?
let's see here.
Renee says like Musha paintings. The hair was a puff dress that marked the waist. Uh, Camille is talking about Gibson girls. I have a book for you. Tell me, pretty maid. It gives the history of the nude. Interesting. And
Yeah,
then,
that's interesting.
and then Linda says she's pretty familiar with the time period. I've read lots of books on it and watched lots of shows on PBS. Huh.
Oh yeah, there's an
C
interesting book
sound.
by Mary Beard about Roman uh, figures and the human body in Roman figures and
Mm-hmm.
paintings and stuff. I don't remember what it's called, but it's really good. It's
What are
really
those
good.
paintings Renee's talking about? Do you know?
Who's Renee?
Renee. Um, or like this. Renee Unraveled. She says like
I don't know what
you
that
don't know
is
what that
now.
is. Interesting.
Uh-uh. Measure time by artists. Yeah. And I mean like on a global history perspective, you've got and certainly like in the art world, you're going into like impressionism and Van Gogh and Monet and all that kind of stuff too, which is um
A
yeah, it's a
dot.
really interesting time period at any rate. So all right, so should we talk about
They have fake moles, huh?
the voting rights thing, I guess?
Is this 100% cotton?
Or do you want to
Yes.
do some crochet talk?
Well, we'll just see what they have to say.
All right.
Happy day. This is 100% cotton. Yes. It says a 5 hook. She said, what is the lady's name again? My Lord. Here's her pattern. I've copied it. Two of Wands, French market bag pattern. She says to use a 4 hook. I went to a 4.5 because I crochet a little tight.
Um,
Muscha was an
so, right.
artist.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, let's take a look at
Let's see
that.
what that is. If I could type. Y'all have to understand I type with my thumb. Oh my lord. Painti. I type with my thumb because it's over here. Ah, this.
Hmm. Oh, for the Art Nouveau stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I mean, now that I'm looking at them, I'm familiar with those paintings,
Mm-hmm.
but I did not know
The name of the
the name.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Art Deco is probably my favorite, but I kind of have a thing for Clara Bow. So
Who?
she's like a flapper type.
Clara who? B.
BOW, Clara Bow.
Uh, oh yeah, I could see you having a thing for Clarabow. For sure. Interesting. Hmm. I like Art Nouveau, Art Deco. Yeah, heavy disc too. Let me turn
Hmm.
this back on.
I like them. I like the mid-century modern stuff. Also, like
Mm-hmm.
furniture and stuff, and houses.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Lloyd Wright houses and stuff. Yeah, Anyway, back on track.
Tori Amos version of Mucus the Star.
Hmm.
Huh. Fairies, flowers, tattoo. Yeah, I like that kind of art.
I
I
like
think
Tori
it's
Amos also.
Tori Amos.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also like, I can't think of her name.
uh,
I don't know. Little, I better be nice.
yeah, the geometric patterns in Art Deco. Yeah, I have a romantic attachment to like Art Deco Paris also. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so the voting rights thing. So the campaign for voting rights in America, like, I mean, you have like women, outstanding women or whatever in American history in the early times that are advocating for women's voting rights. Abigail Adams, for example. But really, the I guess more concerted movement for women to get the vote in America starts in like the 1840s. Um, and it kind of grows up side by side with the abolition movement. And there's a lot of crossover, and a lot of the abolitionists, especially the female abolitionists, are also advocates for women's voting rights. So you've got the Seneca Falls Convention with Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony in the early 1840s. I think it's like 1842 or 43 or something like that. But anyway, I kind of wanted to talk more about the end of the suffrage movement and the connection between the suffrage campaigns in America and the suffrage campaigns in Britain.
Hmm. The end of the suffrage so you're gonna like compare them.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about Alice Paul.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And
and
who is Alice Paul?
she's a suffragette.
Hmm.
She starts this organization called NASA,
Hmm.
um, National Association for Women's Suffrage, something. I don't know. Anyway, and she's a more radical suffragette. Um, and she's an interesting person because she travels over to England and stays with the suffragettes in England for like 3 or 4 years. And then she brings the strategies that the English suffragettes, the Pankhursts in particular,
The
uh,
who?
they're
Say that again.
so the mom's name is Emmeline Pankhurst,
Pankhurst. Uh huh.
Pankhurst.
They were more aggressive, right?
Yeah,
Uh huh.
Emmeline, and her daughter's name is Christabel. They are radical suffragettes in England, and England had been bringing up bills about women's suffrage like about since the 1840s too, but nobody ever acted on them.
Mm-hmm.
I need a drink.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you already drink your coffee?
yeah.
Better be nice, challenging. Yeah.
So, what do I mean by a radical suffragette, right? Versus, say, a more traditional, still a suffragette, but not like radical suffragette. The Pankhursts started campaigns and marches, like going and standing in front of Parliament and stuff like that, and the police were roughing them up a little bit.
Roughing the women up.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and anti suffrage
Mm-hmm.
forces, men mostly.
Hey, Kivia.
Um, and so then the Pankhursts started what they called a window smashing campaign,
Uh-huh.
which is exactly what it sounds like.
The
Uh, and they would go around and throw bricks through shop windows and stuff and
Uh-huh.
like mix it up with the police.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they would get arrested for that sort of thing. And when they got arrested, they tended to go on hunger strikes and made the case that they were political prisoners instead of like criminal prisoners. So through the course of like imprisoning the women in England, and they start going on these hunger strikes, right? Then the authorities start like force feeding them to break the hunger
How
strikes,
did they force feed them?
like with a funnel.
What?
Yeah, yeah, because they couldn't have them dying in police custody,
That's
right?
not right.
And they were pretty serious about their hunger strikes.
Uh-huh.
Um, so anyway, Alice Paul brings this more radical feminism back, or I don't even know if you would, I don't know if the feminism would really be the proper word. They wouldn't have called it that, but um, she brings all of that back with her to America and to the pre-existing suffrage movement in America. And she's younger, right? Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, they're active in the 1840s, and this is happening in like 1890 all the way up until until World War One starts.
It seems like a really big bag. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
It's like a really big bag. Like that thing. How long is this board?
Well, you fold it in half, right? It's 2 feet, I
Well,
believe.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm crocheting this way and then folding that in half
Mm,
and adding, or if I'm gonna be folding it in half this way. But that is super long because that's 2.5 foot board, and then that's probably like we're probably at 3 feet here. Mom called, so I'm watching on mute right on. I don't know what FOA fog
foie gras,
or
is
you
it?
mean foie gras? Oh my god, I have been looking for you. I haven't seen you in a while. You probably don't remember me, Nora and Aaron. No, I don't remember you, Nora and Aaron. But I'm glad you found me. Welcome back.
Oh, we got a
mm-hmm.
question. What
Mm-hmm.
was the average income in that era? Okay, yeah, yeah,
Foie
I can
gras.
talk about
What is
that.
foie gras? Is that liver something?
Fatty goose liver.
Fatty goose liver.
I like it.
Of course you would.
No, it's pretty good. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not like liver, I'll say that.
It's
It's
not
more like
like
a fat brick.
a fat brick. I don't like. Hubby likes fatty meats. I don't like fatty
It's almost
meats.
got the texture of like if you've had like pate, it's more
Uh-huh.
of that texture.
Yuck.
And it's like
Uh-huh.
nutty.
Nutty. Well, at least it
Yeah.
has that going for it.
No, I mean it's good. Like, yeah, it's
hmm
tasty. Anyway, back on track. So average income in that era. On average, and I mean, I'm speaking in generalities here, right? Like, and I don't have it's economically, it's really hard to get like a dollar equivalent on people's incomes. Like, one of the issues there is like we value different goods and services differently. So
hmm
like
That would be awful short.
nowadays, if you've got like a personal maid that stays at your house, right?
Uh-huh.
You're like pretty rich. But in the progressive era, for example, if you have a live-in maid, that's like middle class,
So, like, if
basically.
we were in the progressive era,
We would
we
have a
would
maid.
have a maid, a
Yes.
living maid.
Yeah.
That would be normal for the
Yes.
average American.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah. In general, though, most people in the progressive era are in, I guess, what you might think of as the underclass.
hmm
A true large middle class develops during the progressive era of like the professional class, like secretaries or like clerk type positions, um, warehouse management, technical specialist, that sort of thing, develops this, American middle class. But I would say a good 80% of the population is relatively at a subsistence level. So you're certainly not developing much in the way of savings. Everybody's flocking to the cities, and along with that comes like tenement living,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the bigger cities like Chicago, New York, whatever, where you've got really, really cheap property, cheap houses, cheap housing, that's equally cheaply built, right? So there are fire hazards and um, just really brutal conditions there. Um, that continues throughout most of the progressive era. Um, Now, as you go on, as you push on towards like the 1910s, 1920s, the middle class starts to make up a larger percentage of the population.
Mm.
So, around 1910, 1920, you still got a relatively significant rural population. And by rural, I mean living on farms, basically,
Uh-huh.
which would be around like 35 to 40% of the overall population of the country is now
Really?
living in cities,
Huh.
uh,
Mm,
which continues to, like, urbanization continues to accelerate and
hang
stuff.
on a
So,
second. Mm-hmm.
on the whole, most people are what we would think of as like working class. Um, and
Yeah.
job conditions, protections, pay, all of that are not great. And in a lot of ways, the era is a response to that.
Is it? What can you not wait for tomorrow for, Akivia? And Charlotte says, thank you for answering my question. That's interesting. Did they have public
You're welcome,
works
Charlotte.
like, electricity, sewage, things like that?
Yeah, all of that. It's actually when that kind of stuff developed. I mean, not public works exactly. Like we've had public works since Roman Empire times, or even before. But electricity certainly is a huge game changer in the time period, right? You get
Now say that again. I'm trying to do crochet, read the chat, and listen to you. So electricity became more prominent during that time
and usable.
and usable.
So like electricity and telecommunications technology.
Mm-hmm.
And they really almost go hand in hand as far as the
Mm-hmm.
development goes. Like during the Civil War, you've got is when you have like major telegraph networks,
Mm-hmm.
but telegraph still carries with it some problems, right? It's slow.
Mm-hmm.
You got to decode it. You're limited in how much message space you have. All of that, right? You got to go to the telegraph station. All those things. Um, Somebody has to be there to receive the message. Uh, the telephone. I think Bell invents the telephone, and I think it's in eight like it's shortly after the Civil War, like 1872,
Oh, I
73,
didn't know
something like
that.
that. Yeah, but telephone networks don't really become uh, in any way functional
Mm-hmm.
until like the 1890s, late 1890s.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gotta like build the network before it's worth anything, right? Like, no, that's great. You got a telephone for one person, but that doesn't, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
while to build out that infrastructure. So you're talking about like public utilities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, hang
Um,
on. So, Kiwi is excited the Furl Odyssey hooks are returning. I don't. What are the Odyssey hooks? I don't know. Like, I guess it's a certain kind of furls hook. And then Cammy wants to say, and what is happening to African Americans during this
oh
growth?
yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question too. A lot is happening with African Americans at this time period, right? You've got first of all what we call the Great Migration, which is the movement of, I guess, not freed former slaves, but their children start leaving the South, um, in large amounts, and start moving to into the northern cities like Chicago, like New York, like Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh. All of the major northern cities are, um, receiving points, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not exactly complicated why that's happening, right? It's the what we call Jim Crow conditions in the South, the, um, laws and restrictions that are passed that clamp down with the where the KKK kind of takes back over in the South, the voting rights restriction, that whole
Mm-hmm.
lynchings, all of that. Um, but then as the time period goes on, it leads us into like the Harlem Renaissance, and I would say the Harlem Renaissance really starts in like World War One, basically is the start of that. And when you have World War One in and of itself, and this is my prep lecture that I'm doing, next weekend or this weekend. African Americans fight in large numbers in World War One, and because of that, there's like a renewed, um, let's say, feelings of manhood,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Just like in the Civil War itself is a big part of black citizenship and black identity that develops out of the Civil War is due to military service. You've got like millions of, black Americans that fight in the Union Army in the Civil War, and then when we go into World War One, they go over to France, and primarily in France, and the treatment of black people in France is just vastly different from how the Americans treat, um, black people.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the American Expeditionary Force details, the black regiments, the Harlem Hellfighters and the, 9th and 10th Cavalry. They actually have them fight under the command of the French because they don't want to deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be, I mean, just sheer racism.
Look at this.
What you got?
This is Renee's painting.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. That's beautiful. So it's like that style of painting. I thought she had another one.
Yeah, Camilla. About, Brazil and slavery. Yeah, I think slavery in Brazil
Oh, it's just
is
us two.
like 1893 or something is when slavery ends in
Mm-hmm.
Brazil. Um,
Look at that. I love that one.
and Brazil probably also, or well, not probably. Brazil certainly has I think, at least in this hemisphere, the longest history of slavery too, because I mean, almost from the very beginning of a European presence in the Americas, you've had industrial slavery in Brazil. So that's like a
When you
what
get
300 something year history of slavery, a little bit longer than ours here in
when you get to a
America.
stopping point, I'm gonna have to catch up on the chat.
Yeah.
Can you stop for a second? Are you done with your thought there, baby?
Oh, thank you, Charlotte. That's very nice. Yeah, so the black soldiers. So when they come back, and I can conclude here. And what are
Mm-hmm.
you looking to try
I
to
just need
do?
to catch up on the chat, and then someone's saying I messed up, and I need to see if
Okay.
what they're talking about.
So yeah, so
Mm.
they get these experiences in France, and they're treated like equals basically in France. They go to bars. They start. There's the exposure to jazz music in France, that is all brought back to America, when they come back. And when they get back to America and they get back into the more, I mean, just frankly racist environment here in America, and even in the North. Like we certainly demonize the South, and rightfully so in that time period. But the North is, I mean, they don't believe in slavery, but they don't believe in equality either, right? Like this racism is pretty pervasive, and it does, it starts to chip away. Uh, in the 1890s, you start to have a black professional class here in
Mm-hmm.
America. Certainly, W.E.B. Du Bois gets his degree from Harvard. He gets his PhD from Harvard in like 1893. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around there. Um, and then you have the development of like a whole strain of black thought under Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, and um, that develops. That's like the early civil rights movement in America, and then that grows throughout the 20s, and there's almost like a pause in the depression years, right, as far as civil rights, and then it starts growing again after the end of World War II, into like the 50s and 60s civil rights movement.
Thank you, Chris. No, it's okay. I hate that you have to frog, but I would have wanted to frog Chris, so that's perfectly fine. Here, while you're stopped, let me catch up on the chat, and then
Yeah.
also you're losing me a little bit because you know how I am.
Well,
Like
we
you,
got to rambling a little
you
there.
tell me stuff, and then I have to process it, and then my brain is gets fried a little bit. But let me go back here and see.
We we got off of
Uh,
our Alice Paul story, but that's
um,
okay.
there, so I sent you a pic of my Muka, is what you're saying. But that's beautiful, Renee. I mean, that is some beautiful paintings you did there. So I guess there was a lot of playing outside for the kids, right? If they didn't have things we have today. Also, I'm wondering what other inventors were in that era. Don't answer that yet, though.
Oh yeah,
Unless you have.
sure.
Do you want me to email you the picture of the new Furls Odyssey hook? Right on, Kivia. Yeah, go ahead and email me. It's share with Camille. Well, you don't have to email me. I can look that up here and show it. Does the pattern call for a triangle space? No. Thank you, Chris, for helping me there. And then thanks for the answer. Second row. We were the last country to free slavery people, so I don't know how it was in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Muka inspired Wizard of Oz. Yeah, that was beautiful, Renee. Ryan, I think if I would have had you in high school history, I probably would have passed it because I love the way you explain things. You remind me of Jack explaining things to me. If you look up Muka, you will see the original that is not Oz. Ah, my great grandfather was a slave. Well, Camilla,
Really?
I had to click all messages. I hate YouTube. I know, Arity. Like, it's been a mess lately. And I've lost it. Somebody said something earlier to Renee, and I wasn't following it because I think YouTube didn't leave the messages. They don't always show me all the messages. So just know, like, I'm not ignoring y'all. It's a mess right now. I hate that too, Eardy. Right. Is it triple crochet? Yes. Oh, so very ordinary. Welcome in if you're still here. Yes, it's triple crochet, chain three, triple crochet, chain three. This pattern is by Two of Wands. If you look up Two of Wands, French market bag, you will find her pattern. And that's what I'm sitting here doing while he talks. And then Camilla says zoot suit, jazz, funk, art. That's not the same time period, is it?
Well,
Or have I
jazz certainly.
didn't do part of the like I t- you lost me in that last conversation because I got a little stressed because so much chat had gone by.
Well, how about
Mm-hmm.
we can circle back to the
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I really hate that turn of phrase. I don't know why I said that. I
What did you
apologize.
say?
We circle back.
Circle back,
No,
circle
but I
around.
think it would be interesting. Well, I have some interesting stories at
Let me
least
finish
about.
this then.
Oh, okay.
I hate that you have to frog. Yeah, Yeah, triple. Yeah, triple. Look, here's a triple. So I chained three, double around. See, like that's a double crochet, right? There's a triple crochet, and then you go in, and then you pull through two, pull through two, pull through two. That's a treble. Treble, triple, however you want to call it. So it just makes the stitch collar taller. They actually have like treble. I don't know what that's called, a quadruple. They have where you go around, I don't know how many times, and you can have even higher stitches than a treble. They're just not used very often, right?
Hmm.
Uh
So it's like Spinal
huh.
Tap turning it up to
Mishi
11.
showed them last night. Showed your paintings? Oh, that's awesome. Mucha. Mucha. Oh, Mucha. Okay. In the past few weeks, every time. Yeah, it's annoying the YouTube has been. Yes, in 1865 to be exact. It's free on her blog. Still here. Okay, I grew up in the South where they called Civil War the War of Northern Aggression, even in the 20th century. Oh, she showed the Odyssey hooks. Let me do that one more thing, babe, before you continue.
All right.
I'm going to show the Furls Odyssey hooks. Furls Odyssey hooks. Not pearls, but Furls Odyssey hooks are premium ergonomic. Here's the Odyssey ones. Ah, now I might like that kind. It's a little different. Those are beautiful. So they took them away and now they're selling them again. All right. That's awesome. Oh, look, here's another picture of them. Those are beautiful. They look like they're shorter, are they? I don't know. I would like some in some sparkle green. I wanted to try these kind, but I don't know. They seem kind of long to me. I don't know if I will like them. The hooks that I've used that are longer, I've not enjoyed stitching with as much. I think I'm caught up. Let me look one more time there, babe. Look, we're at an hour almost.
Hmm.
That's insane. That's how it was down there. I was glad to be away from it in the South. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, Renee, what you said about the War of Northern Aggression. The lost cause myth that develops after the Civil War, like Robert E. Lee was a great general, and if Stonewall Jackson hadn't have died at Bull Run, then the South would have beat the Union or whatever, like all that kind of nonsense. The war wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights, that kind of stuff. That all develops during the this progressive time period too. And there are it's interesting because I was talking about the suffrage movement. The lost cause people in the South are in a lot of cases driven by women's groups like the Daughters of the Confederacy, and they are anti-suffragettes, right? And they lose the political battle to the suffragettes because they believe they're still stuck in this, like what we call the cult of domesticity in the South, which, I mean, it was a thing in the North too, but in general, like women aren't really supposed to be out in public. Like they do control the home,
Mm-hmm.
and in a lot of cases, like control the finances even, uh, but they are not supposed to be out like on the streets politically campaigning. That's like indecent almost, right?
Just made them clutch their pearls.
Right. And so they're anti-suffrage, and they have a enormous written campaign
Mm-hmm.
because that's acceptable, but they they're not able to campaign in public against the suffragettes. So they lose the battle, and then they direct their energy into this lost cause myth and build paying for like statues of and Confederate war memorials and stuff like that in the South. Um Yeah.
Hmm. So
So
how
it's
did
it's like a double whammy there.
so we got off of Clara? I don't even know her name.
Oh, Clara Bow.
Clara Bow.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was in like silent films and stuff.
not that. You said how did we get off on blah blah blah? And I thought we were talking about. Um.
Because she talked about the northern aggression.
Uh.
But anyway, what am I supposed to talk
I
about
don't
now?
know.
Oh, yeah, somebody earlier asked about or mentioned people having a lot of time, kids
Mm.
having a lot of time to play outside, right? Or what that looks like. And it's actually kind of it makes for an interesting example because remember what I was saying about how the progressive time period is it's not exactly about making people's lives better. It's about perfecting the human race, or specifically protecting the white Western European Anglo-Saxon human race and perfecting it, right? And children's play and the regulation of children's play is an interesting example of like the almost obsession with control that they have in the progressive era. And it's play is considered an integral part of educating a child, right? And so, of course, the progressive technical managers and um, philanthropists and things like that are very, very interested in like strictly regulating exactly what the child is doing when he or she is playing. And so they have like there's this movement to create playgrounds in urban areas, in cities, and
Really?
yeah,
During the progressive era?
yeah, mm-hmm.
Huh.
And really, I mean, honestly, public education develops into like truly public open access for everybody education develops in the progressive era
Mm.
too. Like it grows out of like the Freedmen's Bureau schools in the South after the end of the Civil War, and that forms like the foundation core of open public school for all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, public schools exist before when I'm talking about. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have, but they're not in the sense that we have them today.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much smaller enrollment. Yeah, so the playground movement and what children are allowed to do becomes like this huge fight between opposite sides of the progressive movement in general. And like some of them want that strict, super tight regulation, and others want a more free play kind of setup. Um, but their successes are somewhat limited. Like you got like the poverty of the recent immigrant class really can't be overstated during the time period, right? Um, but they try, right? Like there's a recognition that it's important, I think,
The education.
and physical education
Mm-hmm.
in particular. And then like Theodore Roosevelt, for example, progressive president, amongst many, many, many other things. But he has this philosophy, and it's I think kind of shared by a lot of them that like hard living makes for strong people,
Mm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
swimming in the Potomac River at 8 o'clock in the morning in January
Mm-hmm.
or whatever to prove your manliness or boost your body.
Okay, now I'm going to show my ignorance.
All
So
right.
he was president during the progressive era.
Yeah, Roosevelt, he becomes president after the Spanish American War. So he becomes president in like 1901,
Okay.
maybe. Um,
Mm. Yeah, he created our national parks.
yes, he did.
Hmm.
He did. Roosevelt's a interesting character. Um, and he's progressive to the core. And he, I think, demonstrates both the he's a perfect example of the positives and the negatives of the progressive time period. Um, yeah.
They did not in the South. My mother was pulled out of school in the 1920s to work in tobacco fields. She could barely read and write.
Yeah, for
Kiwi
sure.
says my grandma had a second grade education. I think my grandma went to eighth. She went to eighth grade and she stopped going to school so she could work. So her sister, I want to say, so her sister could go to college.
Hmm.
Um, I think. Does that sound right? So her sister going to college, she was older than my grandma. My grandma was born in, I don't know for sure, 1917. So
Mm.
uh, I guess women were going to college in 1940s.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
I
Yeah.
mean, does that jive? Because it could be that she had to quit so her sister could continue going to regular school, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
I don't know the for
that
sure
wouldn't be
details on that.
uncommon.
He
Yeah.
created national parks. That's where the teddy bear comes from. It wasn't really all that long ago, right? I would have loved to have seen the White House back then. I'm sure it looked a lot different. Yeah. You like Roosevelt. Is
Well,
that right? Or do I have it
I
mixed up?
well, I wouldn't say like. I mean, is he historically interesting? Yeah, absolutely. Um, but like I said, Roosevelt exemplifies both the positives and negatives of the progressive time period. He is absolutely a man of his age and carries all of the baggage that goes along with that. So what do I mean by that? Um, Roosevelt is very much what we would refer to as a social Darwinist. Roosevelt also puts a lot of belief in eugenics. And to be fair, just about everybody in any kind of position or authority or scientific knowledge during the time period subscribe to
Eugenics.
eugenics and social Darwinism. It's really pervasive, and it's also not just in the United States. It's really kind of worldwide.
Hmm.
So Roosevelt carries those attitudes with him, right? So what do I mean by social Darwinism? Social Darwinism is like when you take evolution and apply it not to animals but to the human race, right? And you particularly, it's not exactly Charles Darwin, but it's what the kids call problematic. It's really more this guy Herbert Spencer, and he takes this he comes up with the idea of the survival of the fittest. It's
Hmm.
actually not Darwin that says that. Um,
Oh, it's
and
not.
no, it's the survival of the fittest idea
Hmm.
is coined by Herbert Spencer. Now Darwin's like the concept is there, right? But what he says, Darwin doesn't think that it's the strongest animal that survives. He thinks that it's the animal that's best able to adapt that survives
Mm.
and affects natural selection.
Really?
So Spencer takes this survival of the fittest idea and it becomes a justification basically for um, imperialism and the it's a way of explaining why it's okay to go in and take territory in Africa or take territory in Asia or Latin America and extract the resources and use violence to coerce the population and all of that. Well, according to the social Darwinists, which, like I said, just about every progressive is, in some sense, a social Darwinist. Um, they believe that they are simply accelerating nature.
Really?
That, yes, because there's this natural selection idea, right? And so, like, the strong are going to survive and the weak are going to die out. So, when, a white Western European country goes in and, say, takes over, like, the Congo, we're not exactly doing anything bad. It's that they're just putting their hand on the scale a little bit and
pushing it
accelerating
forward.
what Mother Nature is going to do over time anyway, right?
That's what they believed.
And it's wrapped up with this eugenics movement. And again, remember what I said about it's perfecting the human race, right? So eugenics is when you attempt to regulate the human population and human DNA or like maintain racial purity or whatever. They're extremely concerned with maintaining racial purity and not obviously, you have the stuff with the big H in Germany, right? But it's far more widespread than that, right? So eugenics is like either positively promoting the right kind of people to create or like to reproduce, right? And negatively discouraging the wrong kind of people from reproducing.
Now, Franklin Roosevelt was the one in the wheelchair, correct?
Yes.
Now, okay, I read that one. He was very helpful with the help of John Muir in conservation.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to kill a bear in Mississippi, someone says. Okay, so now I'm going to change the subject a little bit unless somebody has some kind of input they want to say or a question or whatever to what were you trying to explain to me about the housing,
the settlement houses?
The settlement houses, but then you said some people were arrested but some weren't, but I think that had to do with the suffrage movement.
Well, it does, and it's what there's this dirty word or whatever, this intersectionality, right? In these issues, and we refer to a women's movement, but like I said before, a lot of the women that are participating in the suffrage movement, and we haven't talked about the others like the prohibition movement or whatever. But those same women are in the campaigns for voting rights, and this intersectionality, kind of like what you were saying, like it affects the suffrage movement also, right? Like both of those things are true,
right?
Now, what you're talking about there was kind of like my question for my students is, okay, so we have women like Alice Paul, who's a radical suffragette. We have, just for a quick example, Carrie Nation. Carrie Nation is this prohibition campaigner who she's like an angry Christian granny. And her husband is really symptomatic of the times, right? He's always at the bar, always drunk, whatever, which is way more common back then than today, right? Everybody's drinking. Plus, you got a lot of PTSD from the Civil War vets and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So she goes into the bars with a hatchet and like starts chopping up the liquor barrels and like campaigning about how liquor's the devil and
Mm-hmm.
lips that touch liquor will never touch mine, sort of thing, right? Those more radical activists, they get punished, man. Like they certainly get repressed. Like the police come in to break up their demonstrations. They get put in jail. They get treated roughly, at any
Mm-hmm.
rate. Whereas other the right type of progressive reformer doesn't get that
What do you
treatment,
mean
even
by
though
the
she's a
right
woman.
type?
So, like,
Status?
well, status, yes, but also conforming to the accepted gender roles. And see, what
Hey, Tina.
one of an interesting thing about the time period is that the expected or accepted gender role of women is changing rapidly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 1860s, like I was saying before, this sort of domesticity in America is like feminine virtues are like piety, charity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cleanliness, like maintaining a cleanly home or whatever, right? And that's the expectation.
I am not
Um,
pious.
right,
Right.
and that starts changing, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
really rapidly. Especially like you have the growth of women in the workplace within the factory system too, and it's kind of a double-edged sword in that like factory jobs suck,
Mm-hmm.
right, in the 1890s. However, women start to earn a wage
Mm-hmm.
and start to be able to exercise a little bit more control because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes harder and harder to make a solid argument about why women should not be should not have the vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, the campaign, interestingly, starts like in the West, in the sort of like pioneer areas like Montana and Wyoming and stuff. They're the first ones that actually have success at granting women the right to vote. Um, like
Really?
Wyoming, yeah, Wyoming's the first, and I think they're in the 1870s. Now, of course, that's just for state elections.
Mm-hmm.
They still can't vote in the federal elections, but they do give them the right to vote in the state elections, and it's kind of like um, pioneer women are different from women back east.
Mm-hmm.
They're a In the pioneer situation, you have to work as a team.
Right.
Nobody
There's not as
the
much roles.
Yes, you're doing everything.
Uh-huh.
And if the husband is sick, the wife is
Yes.
out there doing the husband's chores, right?
Right.
So there's a much less well defined spheres of influence,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of why that happens. Plus,
Uh-huh.
there's way less women out there,
Uh-huh.
um, just in general.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I
How you
forgot.
doing, Tina? I'm making a market bag. Hubby's talking about some history in the progressive era. This is going pretty fast here. Oh, Renee says what I saw as a kid that women started working, but they still had to take care of the kids and keep house.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
still. I mean, we're starting to go away from that a little bit, but I feel like that's still. Uh,
Well, and then they would punish them for that, Renee, too. Like, so, yeah, you still have to take care of the kids, but you can't exactly. And this is where they actually start to develop like the child protective services type thing,
oh,
and
really?
yeah, like compulsory schooling becomes a thing in the progressive. Remember, we're perfecting the human race, right?
Uh-huh.
So compulsory schooling becomes a thing, and a lot of times women would have to take their older daughters out of school to care for the younger kids while they were at work, and then the authorities would like get them in trouble and put them on like monitoring plans, or even take their children away and put them in an orphanage or whatever, uh, because they were quote unquote abandoning their children during the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is just like
So that was
they,
like the start of CPS?
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know that
mm-hmm,
either.
mm-hmm.
Huh.
And that's why I say like a lot of times these progressives are presented as reformers, and they are reformers. Like they do want to they want to change the system, and they want to make it in general. It's they want to perfect the system for the greatest number of people possible, sort of like J.S. Mill or whatever. Like, how do you determine what's the greatest good? Well, what does the largest number of people benefit from, right? And so a lot of times they can be rather heavy handed in accomplishing their reforms, or attempting to put into place their reforms.
Hmm.
Like, they're not exactly willing to ask for your permission because they think it's an existential crisis, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Whew, that's a lot, babe. So is that like what you would cover in a school lesson? Like, would you cover
Um,
most of that while you're at school?
that would be a lot for my
Uh-huh.
students in one sitting.
Uh,
That's that would
so
be a
you would
big
break it,
chunk.
you would more
Yeah,
break
I
it
would
up.
split it up with my students. Um I will only lecture with the older ones. I'll lecture for about 15 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
But even that,
And then you just what, give them an activity to
yeah,
like,
I'll chunk it with something. We'll put it into
uh,
practice. I'll have them do something with the information that I'm giving them.
mm-hmm,
Like today, I taught my kids about economic imperialism
mm-hmm.
and the Belgian Congo. And so I told them about social Darwinism that I was talking about earlier, and then I asked them a question. Um, how does social Darwinism influence the economic imperialism in the Congo? And so they have to listen to me explain what social Darwinism is, and then apply it in answering the question about an article that they have to read. So it's chunked, right? So, like 15 minutes or so of lecturing, then they're going to read the article for like 10 minutes, and then they're going to respond to my discussion prompt for
Yeah.
like 15 minutes, right? So you break it up for the younger ones.
Oof. So that was a little heavier than I thought for the thing. I mean, that's good information. Uh,
Are you not entertained?
I mean, I got a little bit lost. Like some of it I know. I still like I wanted to know a little bit more about the women uh
Yeah, we got a little sidetracked.
uh but I mean that's fine. I'm happy for you to answer whatever, they're commenting on. I am a little shocked that not more people were commenting, but I mean, maybe they're sitting back crocheting and listening. I don't know. What do y'all think about all that too? I don't want to do it all the time, but it's nice to break this up for me a little bit because there's been some days I come on here and I'm just like, I cannot possibly sit here and talk about crochet for another day. Like, I have been talking about crochet for the last year and a half, 7 days a week for 2 hours mostly. Like, so that when some of y'all have talked about, Camilla has said she likes the history, and I know Kelsey hits. I'm just naming the recent people that like the history. I know Linda likes history. I thought, let's try something different and see what it's like for Ryan to talk about history. And I said, what do you want to talk about? And he said, well, if I'm going to come home after school and talk on your YouTube channel about history, he's like, it's easier for me if I just go on and talk about what I'm actually teaching. So that's what he's currently teaching in school.
Yeah.
Um,
It's easier when you got your head in the game.
yeah,
Already.
so he's like, studied up, refreshed on those topics, but he was explaining some of it to me the other day, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, well, maybe and specifically because of the uh, women's, the progressive era, I thought would be pretty cool to hear about because it does interest me, right? Let me catch up on this chat. Jack is sitting in his recliner rolling some yarn for me, and I'm crocheting. Jack, you need to buy her a uh, ball winder so she can wind some balls. I'm being funny, but yeah, you need to get her a Knit Picks yarn winder. I like to make balls or wind yarn on my yarn winder. It's a very soothing, calming thing for me. So if she doesn't have one, Jack, that's a good present for you, girl. I'm homeschooled up to seventh grade. We went deep into the topics. Did you? Lori said she was mostly listening. Margaret, I thought it was very interesting. A lot of stuff I know and stuff I've done more deep dives on lately, right? I mean, some of the stuff going on in history and politics. I mean, it's politics until it's history, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I
Kind
mean,
of. It's
a lot of this progressive area idea, there is coming back into
uh-huh.
fashion among the techno elite,
Mm-hmm.
and it is, I think, very important for people to understand what these people believe
Mm-hmm.
in, and they they are very bordering, not even bordering, they're crossing the line on these eugenics projects.
The
And
ones now, hang on, hold
yes.
that thought. Arity says, listening to going to block my shawl. You cast it off last night. Where is mine? It's for you, Arity. That's awesome. Tina, I enjoy listening to it. Chris, I didn't realize your hubby taught. Yeah, he teaches high school history. He teaches freshmen and he teaches juniors. And he is about to start teaching for his second job, community college. Online. He's got a master's degree. Oh, baby, forgive me every time. I'm sorry. He's got a master's degree in, let me think, don't give me the answer yet. French, medieval French literature,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And he's got an almost complete master's degree in history,
Mhm.
right? Um, yeah. I'm an English person with a computer science background, so history is not a primary interest. Yeah. Unfortunately, history is seeming to repeat itself, Margaret says. Yeah, feel I think it I think that's probably true, like I'm sure no matter what time period you're in, I feel like we don't learn these lessons. Like, you could be from 1800s and probably feel like history is repeating itself,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Should
Um,
I go for it?
well, hang on just a second. It always does. I'm curious now.
All right.
Don't go too deep into it just because
Yeah.
you're going to lose me,
All
right?
right.
Because my brain is just very full right now with some of this
Sure.
stuff. But what are you meaning by the text and the eugenics? Like,
Yeah.
what
All right.
WTF?
All
Like,
right.
what are you talking? Because
So,
I'm not familiar with this exactly.
okay.
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha,
first,
Charlotte. Mhm.
I think it's worth explaining the concept, and this is a progressive era concept that, like I was saying, has kind of been revived. Um, so there's this concept of what they call race suicide, and the idea is that basically because other races, non Anglo Saxon Protestant races, are willing to accept a lower standard of living in the minds of the progressive technocrats, whatever. Because of that, they will have more children than the Anglo Saxons,
Mhm.
which, for
They
that
don't.
matter, Anglo Saxons not really a thing either. It's
uh,
another, they invented it. Um,
Anglo-Saxon, the term. I
yeah,
mean, to
yeah,
apply
the
to
whole concept,
today.
yeah. Uh-huh. Um, so their big fear, and one of the reasons why we start to have, like in the 1880s, immigration restrictions, particularly against Chinese people and Asians,
Mhm.
um, is this fear of race suicide that
Because
essentially
they'll drop the.
the other races are going to outbreed the Anglo-Saxon, and because they'll be willing to accept a lower standard of living, they'll essentially be able to afford more kids.
Mm.
Now this has become in
So
the
this is a thing that's.
well, that concept was a thing during the progressive era with the eugenicists and the social Darwinists and all that, right? And it's a big motivator
You can see what Margaret
in
says.
the progressive era.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it has become known as the Great Replacement Theory.
That's what
And
they're calling it.
yes, and a lot of the technocratic elite, like for example Peter Thiel from he's made his money with Elon and in PayPal,
Uh huh.
and runs Palantir with a couple of other people, Alex Karp, um, Elon Musk, of course, like what we would call this is the tech bros.
Uh huh.
It's a very relatively common theme among them that they want to create these sort of perfected cities that are under their control, almost in the style of like a feudal city state in the Middle Ages. As far as like, it's not exactly a nation, but it would be a zone of control.
So I mean, is that basically like Elon?
Yeah, and they
Is that what
actually,
he's did? What he?
well, they have a couple of these cities have been created
Mhm.
in Latin America,
Mhm.
in Honduras and Costa
Can you
Rica.
pause for a second?
Yeah.
I'm making. Hey, looking token, welcome in. I am making a uh, French market bag. These are trebles. You can go to Two of Wands, and well, you can look up Two of Wands French market bag. That's the pattern I'm using. I've dropped it in the chat. I'm gonna have to come back and drop it in the description. But I'm making it with 100% cotton 4.5 millimeter hook. She asks for a 4, but I'm using a 4.5 because I crochet a little tight. And this is 100% cotton yarn in Happy Days. Happy day. Happy day. Um, Yeah, that's what I'm making. So welcome in. Is that why Elon wants all the kids?
Well, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about. No.
Oh, you mean his reproduction fetish or whatever.
Does
Yes.
he have a?
Yes.
Is that why he has so many
Yeah, him and
children?
his father both
I think you've told me
yeah,
about
yeah,
that
they have
before.
that thing, and there's
Uh,
also this like crossover between this sort of, I'm just gonna call the techno elite,
mm-hmm.
and
I mean, but
modern day um soft eugenicists, I guess I would
uh-huh.
call them. Um, People that intentionally seek out partners with the qualities that they desire and try to have as many babies as possible.
I mean, doesn't he have something like 22 kids
It's
or?
I don't know what the number is, but it's definitely double digit. Uh,
So he's like super into it even more than
well,
no.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know how far you want to go down the
I
rabbit
don't want to
hole
go. I don't
exactly,
know if it's
but
appropriate to go too far down
yeah, I
into it.
mean, you got to be
Um,
careful with what's speculation and what's verifiable
right.
and all that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. 14. I thought he had
Um,
more than that, Renee, but my bad.
but I
Mhm.
think, I was talking about how the progressives wanted to control things. They want to perfect things by controlling them and by mastering them.
Mhm.
And in the context of the Industrial Revolution, by mastering the new technologies and machinery and scientific abilities and electricity and new continents, new territories,
Mhm.
like mastering all of it. And I think that you see that also with our technological developments with the internet and with interconnectivity and now with artificial intelligence, the impulse and desire, I think, of these companies is to function as a sort of technocratic elite that they control the AI, so they get to be the ones that influence the AI, and
Mhm.
they get to be the ones that decide what's moral and what's not moral for the AI and can affect the way that it gives you feedback. And I think that we should be very, very wary of someone who claims to want to um, perfectionate human life or like revolutionize and the way that human beings exist. And I think that
Right.
it's very easy to that for that to become an extremely heavy-handed form of governance, and I think we see that in the progressive era.
Mm. Well, and then the progressive era also gave us labor laws.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that sort of depends, I guess your interpretation of that depends on kind of where you fall on the political spectrum.
Mhm.
Like in some ways, okay, yes, they earned a 40-hour work week. That's important. Labor strikes earned that. Labor organization got that. They got workplace safety protections. They got
Mhm.
um minimum wage laws. But
Mhm.
like
Hey,
on the
Mima.
whole,
Yeah.
it's really more a blunting of the workers' revolt that we see elsewhere in the world at the time, in Europe, in France, in Germany, with socialism and stuff.
Now, did other countries already have labor laws? For example, is it
It sort of
all
develops
over
at the
the
same
world at the
time,
same
like
time?
Marx and Engels come in
Hmm.
the 1840s, 60s,
Say that again.
like communism and socialism in
Mm,
Marx and Engels.
gotcha.
That's a reaction to the
Hmm.
Industrial Revolution. Also, Um, but it's minimum wage laws, for example,
Mm-hmm.
are not were not designed to make the lives of the workers better.
Mm-mm.
They were designed for a couple of reasons. Number one is to keep what were referred to as defectives out of the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
and by extension to eliminate them from the gene pool from reproducing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way of like cleansing the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
They thought that if they implemented minimum wage laws, that it would prevent what they
Mm-hmm.
refer to it would prevent what they refer to as defectives from being able to get a job, and it would prevent employers from hiring women because obviously a woman's not going to work as hard as a man, so you're not going to be willing as an employer to pay the same minimum wage to a woman as you would to a man, right? So it's like it's it's not designed for necessarily the betterment of the individual worker. It's designed for they're trying to perfect the society as a whole. Now, okay, so what was this question? What do I think of Ayn Rand? I'm gonna be honest, I'm a socialist. I can't stand Ayn Rand. Uh,
uh, uh.
uh, I'm a I guess what I'm closest to like what you would call a European democratic socialist. Um, so like I'm not like a communist. I'm not like
Hey, Pandas.
um a I'm not even really like a full on socialist, but I think social democracy is the best way forward. And I see a lot of
I'm doing good.
other countries that have social democracy that come with a lot of benefits that we don't have here. Um, and it makes me angry. So.
So the progress. Charlotte says, "Let's see, make sure I haven't missed anyone." I said hi to Mima. Who that brings you back to who's watching the Watchers. You can control by charging for new technology. The progress. Charlotte says the progressive era here in the United States did that influence other countries to be the same way, or were we
Yeah,
influenced
no,
by
it's
other
definitely
countries?
no, it's definitely a global movement. There's and by this time period, there's a significant degree of academic crossover between Europe and America. You have American students going and getting degrees at universities in Europe and vice versa. So it's this social Darwinist eugenic kind of progressive spirit is it's pretty widespread throughout the world. Like I can give you a non-white example even too in Mexico. Um, when Mexico becomes when Mexico gains its independence, it's like 1830 30 something. And Santa Anna becomes like the president dictator. And he's, probably familiar to at least some of you from the Texas Revolution. But Santa Anna really he's a dictator in Mexico for like 30 something years. And Mexico also pursues this sort of technocratic, or at least attempts to have this sort of like technocratic development to encourage industrial investment and to use science and technology to improve um, and cultivate Mexico also, right? Like so, no. And then obviously, like in Europe, you have a lot of this racial science protective impulse also. I mean, Germany is the cheap and easy example, but it exists equally in Britain, or maybe not equally, but it also exists in Britain. It also exists in France. It exists in Italy. I mean, it's a global phenomenon for sure.
Hmm. Pandas, I'm making a market bag by Two of Wands, French market bag, out of 100% cotton while I'm listening to my husband talk about the progressive era. Mhm. We're almost at 2 hours, babe.
Yeah,
I didn't even take a break. My butt's starting to hurt me, but we only have 15 minutes left, so I'm going to go on and
the progressive era
hang
during the
with it.
United States to the oh yeah, we already
Hmm.
talked about that. Okay. Yeah, and
Hmm.
actually the Jim Crow system that develops in the South.
I feel like the new kid in class asking all these. That's all right,
Oh no,
Charlotte.
that's great.
He loves it, like he's teaching every day, all day to these kids, and
Yeah, it sucks when
it
you got a
sucks when they don't.
non-responsive.
They just sit
Uh,
there and look at you, and
yeah,
you don't respond, don't interact, just
it's miserable for
glazed
everybody.
glazed over eyes, and he's just it's a unfortunately that's a big percentage of the students that he has.
I'm a
He's
good lecturer for children also. Like this is a bit more academic than I would give to probably most of my children. But I make it entertaining for the kids, and
hmm
I'll explain it like I used a bit more advanced vocabulary than I would use like with my kids and stuff. Like I
hmm
explain things in terms that an average person can get, right? Like I want at least an overall. I don't care about specifics exactly with my children. Like I don't care if you remember specific names. I mean that's
you have to for the
that's
tests,
good.
but
Well,
for some of the
yeah,
tests,
I
but
mean, yeah, I dates are less like specific dates are less important to me. What's important to me is do you understand the interactions and the themes that are happening in the how the parts are interacting with each other,
I
right?
feel special. I've met college level. Yeah, so like, okay, and I struggle with some of it, right? Like a lot of this stuff he teaches me every year, year after year. And I mean, every year I get a little bit better about, he'll say, what's the progressive era? And give him my answer. And then he'll fill me in on the stuff that I don't quite have a understanding of. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to learn about it. This is all hearing him as he's, I hear the videos in the background when he's making sure he can show that video to his class or whatever, gathering his, because he pretty much, not all the time, but he's pretty much writes a lesson every year. He doesn't
Yeah,
reuse his lessons. A lot of teachers
I'm
do.
getting there.
But he feels like there's always something that he can improve on with his lessons.
Yes.
So as he's gathering stuff, I'm hearing videos in the background. Like y'all know he sits here and works right when I'm on live a lot of times, but um it doesn't stop there. When I get off the live, that's when he starts talking to me about it, playing the video, etc., etc. Like, um, it's a constant subject here. You'd think I'd be a little more educated, but I have to read to comprehend a lot of
I'm
stuff. But
getting close to
mhm,
where I'm only gonna have to design lessons when I feel like it.
mhm. Mimo says,
Um,
I've never taken a college courses before. I like listening to people who are passionate about their craft, right? My favorite professor taught history through what impacted what, Chris says. So progressive era, I'm gonna let me see if my knowledge has
all
improved.
right.
Okay, so progressive era, 1890 to around the 1920s,
Yeah.
1930s.
Yeah.
You've got Franklin Roosevelt. No,
No. Other one.
You got Roosevelt.
Theodore.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
You've got women's suffrage, which voting rights. You've got uh oh, what's it called? What's it called? You've got
Settlement
the
houses.
settlement houses. That part I
Mm,
still don't have a grasp on, and for some reason it interests me.
yeah.
You've got labor laws being formed. You've got the alcohol. You
Uh-huh.
got prohibition going on.
Yep.
What am I missing? Hang on. You got the eugenics.
Yep.
Um,
Early African American civil rights.
okay. Them migrating to the
Yeah.
north because
Great
of Jim Crow
Migration.
laws,
Hmm.
which that's something I didn't realize. The Jim Crow laws, I didn't realize went back that
Yeah.
far. Um, I think I got it. What am I
Yeah.
missing?
No, that's it. I
The
mean,
suffragettes. Okay, were they called suffragettes in the U.S. and in England?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so but the suffragettes in England were way more aggressive.
Yes. And well, they bring it back to America
I will,
too.
Charlotte.
There's
Hmm.
this Carrie Chapman cat. She is not a radical suffragette, and she maintains control of NASA, which is the suffrage union. And Alice Paul splits off into what's called the Constitutional Union, and then
Ooh.
during World War One, so they start protesting and like picketing the White House uh, before the U.S. joins the war. And almost all of the other labor organizations and professional organizations and stuff basically agree with President Wilson that they're not going to do labor strikes and stuff during the war. And Alice Paul says, F that noise, and continues protesting and picketing at the White House
Ah.
during the war. And then they start talking about, like, well, maybe we charge them with sedition. Maybe we charge them with treason or whatever, right? And they start arresting them that way. And they keep the campaign up all throughout the war, and they start making these protest signs and speeches and things that are like, okay, so President Wilson's saying he's fighting to save democracy from the Huns over in Europe, but you don't even have democracy here at home. And they start
Yeah.
calling him Kaiser Wilson and like all this stuff. Like they get like
Look at that.
pretty aggressive. And Wilson finally breaks.
Does he?
Wilson breaks at and starts supporting the
Awesome.
19th Amendment.
Look at that blanket, baby, she's making for the Stitcherhood.
All
Isn't that
right.
gorgeous? That's Charlotte's blanket. I've got a email from Arity too. I think she probably showed me her shawl. Let me get that. That's beautiful, Charlotte. Great work. I love it. I'm so excited to get these blankets. This is Arity showing a picture of her. She's washing her shawl. Now, what are you using to wash your shawl with, Arity? Look at it. She got it in the wash. My blanket is about 54 inches now. This is your third blanket, right, Linda? Mine is probably about the same. My second blanket is probably about that same length. I did work on it a little bit. Arity, we use what's it called? Syntherpol.
Oh, the soap, yeah.
We use Syntherpol. I don't know, but I mean, whatever you're using, if it works, great, right? Thank you so much. Not gonna hit my blanket. That's all right, Mima. You get it ready when you can get it ready, girl. We appreciate you participating. Let me see what it was a lot, babe.
Yeah.
Some of it I didn't comprehend. I have to be real. Some of it I have to say I did not comprehend all of it, but I think I could probably maybe one more year of hearing all of it, or if I went and studied, I could probably carry on a fairly intelligent conversation about the progressive era. What's the presidents in the progressive era? Wilson and Roosevelt
And Taft.
and Taft. Taft is. Let me see here. I'm gonna read back. I think I've still got it. That's pretty, Charlotte. It's gorgeous. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm not gonna have my blanket ready by March. That's all right. I said that. I have a book for hubby. A look at all of history. It's a listing of all that happened simultaneously: French, English, Greek, Italian, etc.
Oh, that's interesting.
I use Outback Gold wool wash. Do you? I use Synthropol. Um, well, I say that I use Synthropol. I use Synthropol for my yarn dyeing because you can get it off of Amazon. It's fairly cheap. It goes a long way. It's probably cheaper than any of that stuff y'all are using. Um, but I use that. It captures any dye. Um, Anyway, just FYI, but whatever works for you, right? Tina says, I'm almost finished with the blanket, then on to the border. Right on, Tina. That's awesome. Charlotte says, thank you, Ryan, for taking the time to teach us something. We enjoyed it. It's nice to learn new stuff. Pretty
Oh, yeah.
blankets, says Chris. Mine's probably going to be ready. Not going to be ready until second quarter either. That's all right, Lori. Y'all, it's all right. We're good. I'm just still very thrilled for any of y'all to be doing this. Like y'all, all of y'all. You went up. You went up, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, I love you more because you are participating in this Stitcherhood endeavor with me and Lori and Helix. It's a lot. It's a lot. It was a big ask. It's a lot that we're doing here. Um, I need to talk to Lori and Helix, but I think we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to step it up a little bit with some challenges for it. I have an idea. I'm still ruminating. Is that the right? It's still rolling around in my head about how I want things, and y'all know, like it may not be it may not go. Anyway, I probably shouldn't even brought that up, but I love y'all for doing this blanket for this cause. I think it's awesome. Like, there was actually more of y'all that participated than I thought would participate. I put it that way. But then there's also that part of me that's like, oh, almost 20's participated. Why can't we get 40? It's just a queen blanket. Yes, it's a lot of yarn, but it's just like making two throws. You can make two throws, right? Thank you, Ryan. Oh, I read that. I enjoy listening to Ryan explaining history, right? Christmas, if you're lucky, that's all right, Arity. Whatever you can do. What date do you need to have the blanket to you? If you want to be included in the first quarter drawing of a prize, you need to have it to me. I would say by the 27th, it needs to be in my P.O. box on the 27th, or some of y'all have my home address, and that's perfectly fine to use. Because I'm going to go on the 27th to the post office to try to pick up. That's a Friday. It'll be my last pickup from the P.O. box, and then Saturday, I will we will be showing off those blankets, or not just blankets, whatever got mailed to me. So the 27th of March, if you want to be included in the prize drawing, right? But ultimately, there's a prize drawing each quarter and then another one at the end of the year for the whole year. For everybody that sent items, you get an extra chance to win something in December. I think we're going to do it in December. Yeah. So I have other stuff to send for welcome home baskets. Yeah, we need to work out the details on that. I'm going to actually probably need your help, Lori, My head's kind of all over the place with what do we put in the home basket. And I feel like I haven't really talked enough about those welcome home baskets. We love you too. Thank you, Charlotte. I probably wouldn't have failed history if I had a teacher like Ryan, right? I can do that. Where can I find your P.O. box information? My P.O. box information is pretty much on every description of every video or live on my channel. It is also on my channel's description, Tina. You can, yeah, also on my channel's description. Why are peppers the best at archery? I don't know, Meemaw, but I'm already laughing because I love your jokes. So yeah, my P.O. box info's everywhere. My P.O. box information's even on Lori's videos, and I think it's on Helix's videos. Maybe it's her lives. I don't know. Because they have an arrow. I love it. I don't know if it's the same with Texas, but when I mailed a box to a P.O. box, they said it cost more. It was weird. I never heard that before. Hey, baby, why are peppers the best at archery?
You don't know.
Because they have an arrow. I guess I have never thought to look in the description of the video. Yeah, that's all right. It's in the description of every video, every live, and the description of my channel, right? And then you can always email me, Tina, if you can't find it. It's a little frustrating that you can't copy paste from my description. Can you? I think you can't copy paste from my description or my channel description. I'll be real. I don't have my P.O. box memorized. I know it's 22. I have to every time look on my own channel's description to find the street address of my P.O. box. Because you have to, I'm under the understanding you have to use the street address, but there's also only one post office in Palmer. So I don't know why it's necessary, but I tried to order something one time and it wouldn't take just the P.O. box. I had to put the street address in there. So that's why I have that on there. I guess, all right. Well, look, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm not going to do this all the time, but I feel like maybe once every week or two, hubby's willing to sit and talk about some history to kind of switch it up a little bit. So if you like it, or if you want to know about a certain topic or whatever, like, also, he's typically sitting here every night with me if you got a question, right? Did you like that, babe? Was that fun for you?
Yeah, that was nice.
All right.
Like a good lecture.
Give a good lecture above the high school level. All right. So I will be here tomorrow night. Also, don't forget we're raising money for Helix. She lost her car. She's she needs some stuff. All right. I put it that way. And that is if you go to my posts, I need to post another one. If you go to my posts, it will have a link to help Helix. She needs a little bit of money. Right on. And I will see y'all tomorrow night about 7 p.m. About 7 p.m. probably. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have your notifications on. What else am I missing? I think that's it. I don't know if I'm going to start a crochet game this Wednesday either. Anyway, love y'all. Yes, love y'all. We got to go run an errand actually. So y'all take care. Bye-bye.